What's going on, guys? Episode 3 of the Amish Acres Project, and we finally got seed in the ground. I know last episode I talked about kind of what I wanted to do here, and that is exactly what we got done the other day. We had to work up this food plot a few times. On the first episode we had it moldboard plowed, and then the landowner disked it, and it looked pretty good. You see that in the second episode. Looked really good, but it sat for another couple weeks and it got kind of a crust on it. And so then I had him hit it one more time with the disc, and it got really clumpy, like super clumpy. And so I came in here with my C-tine drag for the four-wheeler, which was the plan as far as getting things leveled out, finished, and then seeded. And I had to hit that thing 3 or 4 different times, going up and down, sideways, trying to fill things out and bust up these clumps. And you can kind of see here what I'm talking about. This is about as good as it got. It was a lot clumpier when I was working it up with the drag, but I got it to a point where it should be good to go, as long as we get some rain, which we are in desperate need of here in Iowa. So yeah, first order of business was to hit it with the drag. Then I came and I broadcast seeded the Egyptian wheat screen right along the fence here, and it'd be about a 10-12 foot wide strip to block the deer's view from the neighbor's property and make them kind of want to come in here and check out the food plot, make sure there's no does on it. Wasn't real scientific with my calculations on how much seed I needed, so I kind of just took a wild ass guess, and it should be close. I think it should be good, but time will tell. Need rain, see how it grows, and that's all we can do from that point. Next thing I did was broadcast seeded soybeans onto the main part of the plot here, which is going to act as a summer forage, a nitrogen builder, kind of cover crop, and then also, because these beans are glyphosate resistant, it's going to allow me to control weeds if I do have an issue. So broadcasted them on here, and then I went over it again lightly with that C-tine drag on the four-wheeler, and then finally rolled it with a lawn roller, which is a pretty slick little implement if you've got only a four-wheeler or maybe a small garden tractor or something like that. They're just nice where you can load them with water, transport them light, but then empty and load them with water to make them nice and heavy and get this packed in really well. So, you know, hopefully these beans I planted, these magic beans that are supposed to grow huge bucks, at least 20 inches of antlers is what I was told of an increase. I'm actually bullshitting you. They're nothing special. They're egg beans. They're bin run beans. I get them right out of the grain bin. So I was pretty liberal with the application of them because they are for forage. I'm not expecting actual good pods of beans on them. So I seeded 3 5-gallon pails worth of soybeans onto this little half acre plot. So it's going to be nice and thick. And the fact that we're broadcasting, you know, you don't get as good of a catch as if you were to drill it in. So we seeded them pretty heavy. But that's the finished product. Plots on the ground. Next time we'll plant something in here. Granted, this doesn't become a complete disaster for some reason. Next thing we'll plant in here is our fall 365 mix, which we'll just take out the soybean portion. Of course, we're going to leave the screen. And then we'll take that out probably around the 1st of September, first week of September. Come in here, lightly work it up, work the soybeans in to terminate them, and then do the same process, basically broadcast our 365 mix in here, lightly drag it, back it down, and we'll be good to go for fall. And then next spring we'll have clovers, red and white clovers in that mix at a full rate, plus the winter rye coming back from this fall's planting. And this plot will be a nice clover plot, feeding deer all summer as we wait to put fall 365 in again at the same time next year, which in this area, like I mentioned, is usually around the 1st of September. So that project is done for now. Next up is putting a water hole in. So that'll probably be on the next episode. We're going to install a water hole here. And I'll show you where we're going to put that, explain why, and all that good stuff. And then we've got a few other projects, like back behind me here. We need to fix this fence, which has a bunch of box elder trees in it. And so I talked with the landowner. We walked this property the other day, and we came to the conclusion we're just going to cut those box elder trees out and drop them. Not really worth much timber wise, and it would make putting that new fence in way easier. But another added benefit to that is going to be added bedding to the property. And behind me here, and you can kind of see it right behind here, there's a deadfall. And last year I kicked out a nice buck from that specific downfall, or deadfall I should say. And I also jumped a group of does out here, both times coming in to check trail cameras. So they bed in there for sure. And that buck specifically was bedded on a southeasterly wind. So he had the wind to his back, and he was looking this way at the current food plot, which used to just be a mowed open grass patch. So he did exactly what he's supposed to do in terms of bedding, and he survived, right? He got away because he set things up really well. Another thing, when I walked the other day, walked through this with the landowner, there's a trail that he would mow. So he would mow this big patch behind me that's now a food plot, just to cut the grass down, essentially, with a brush hog. But there's a trail here that he would also mow, and it goes back to the back corner of his property. And he was talking like, oh, maybe, should I mow it? Maybe we should work it up, put some clover in there, extend the food plot, just take down this trail right here behind me. And you kind of see it's just an overgrown trail right now, bunch of grass on it. And I said, why don't we just hold off on that? Because from my own experience in the past with these trail type of food plots, sometimes they'd follow it, but a lot of times, those deer have especially those bucks, know where they're going. And they're not necessarily going to follow these paths that we make for them. Many times I'd watch them just walk up, cross the path, just like walk right across it and keep going where they're going. And so it didn't really change their direction or where they were going and give us any more opportunity to kill them. And if we walk down here, you can see there's actually some beds in this grass, which is right on the edge of this ridge. The ridge drops off right here. And so if we were to come in here and cut these trees for the fence line, and then maybe cut a few more and really make this thick and drop a bunch of deadfalls here, and maybe even drop some over this trail, we're going to create a lot of bedding, more bedding on this property here. It's going to be kind of a nice pocket. And on the other side of that pocket is where we're going to have our second tree stand. And so I'm like, man, that's a lot better improvement to me than adding a little food plot trail that we don't really need. And we don't really want to attract deer to that end of the property with food. That stand down that's going to go down there is going to be a rut specific stand. So heating the rut second week in November, particularly in the morning. That's going to be kind of like get in there all day, or at least to midday for sure, sitting up in there. And I think it'll be a good spot. It's just going to be very time specific because the access to it is not great. So I thought I'd explain that because I see a lot of the food plot trail stuff. And to me, more bedding trumps food plot trail. And there's not a great stand site I can hunt it anyway. So I'd rather just not attract them there. I'd rather keep them attracted to this main plot and towards the stand that's going to be the best on this property and be the easiest to access. So that's it for episode 3. Stay tuned to episode 4. We got a lot of stuff coming. I can't wait to get it done, but man, it's only a little 9-acre parcel And I would say of the 9 acres, we're really only hunting 3 or 4 of it, honestly. And just this little 3 or 4 acres is a ton of work to get just these little projects done throughout the years. And it's been a lot of work already, and it's going to be a lot of work in the future. So this property improvement stuff is no joke. It is a lot of work. So hope you enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for the next one, and good luck on your own projects this year.